Awesome. So yeah, looks like we're live. All right, awesome. Before we start this first meeting, I wanted to make a little statement. So first off, I just want to say, before everyone else, congratulations to the new council members. I'm truly honored to have the opportunity to serve alongside you this year as we advocate for change on behalf of the student body. This year, I hope that we can create an environment of inclusion, of strong advocacy, and most importantly, friendship. As student leaders, it's important that we work together and remember our common goals of service to our fellow students. So remember that even though we may disagree about certain policies, it doesn't mean that we have to leave these council meetings disliking each other. This year, we have an opportunity to change USAC. We have an opportunity to change USAC internally. We have an opportunity to change our relationships with administration. We have an opportunity to change how USAC is perceived by the public. So as the only returning council member, my only point of advice to everyone is to give everyone a chance, regardless of slate affiliation, or what you've heard about them previously. Extend the olive branch to everyone because you never know who your best friend could be. And then once again, I'm just honored to work alongside you, and I look forward to doing making stuff happen for the UCLA student body. So with that being said, I call this meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. On May, what's today, 22nd?
17th.
May 17th, 2022. All right. Are there any amendments to the agenda? Okay. Well, I know there's one amendment that needs to be made. I know me and Danny was talking. She wanted to add a discussion about the mass shooting in Buffalo, New York. Josh, that's allowed, right?
That is totally okay. Yep. Do you want it to be a discussion item under new business?
Yes.
Absolutely. And that's being added.
All right. And okay, I don't think there's any.
On the comments, they're saying to add contingency programming and student balance commission programming on the funding.
Okay, awesome.
So, Milan, I'm going to read off the funding sources, and I'm going to read them off in order, and I'll watch you type so we can add all of them. So it goes in order of capital contingency. Oh my gosh, look at you. Done. I'm done.
All right, awesome. Were we able to make all those changes? Good. Okay. Yes, she is. Milan's killing it already. All right, awesome. Okay, so I think it's time to do an approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion?
I move to approve the agenda.
Okay, can I get a second?
I second it.
Wait, who was that? Was that Keon?
Yeah, I got it.
Eliana motions, Keon seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right. And I'm sorry, I got to figure out a system to make this quicker of like counting the votes. Okay, that looks like
it was 11, Carl.
Okay, 11. All right. Okay, so by a vote of 11-0, the motion passes and the agenda is approved. All right.
So, I'm so sorry. We would want to just call. So we called approve. So can we would want to call reject, decline, or abstain, because I think there's 14 of us here, so not everyone voted.
Okay, so the ones here, would that count as people who are abstaining, I guess, because they're not here, or what?
Do we not have anybody? Oh, are we 11 council members then total?
Yeah, everyone's not here.
Oh, right? And you'd be 12. My apologies. You're correct. I'm so sorry. Yeah. You're good.
Okay, awesome. All right, and then we don't have to approve the minutes because we're not approving the minutes from last week, right?
We actually do approve the minutes from last week, even though it wasn't your council. You would just want to vote them in.
Okay, awesome. All right, can I get a motion to approve the minutes?
A motion. Alicia.
Okay, Alicia. Alicia, can
Oh,
I get a
can you,
second?
sorry, real quick too, when you say the motion, can you say the full thing? So I motion to approve the minutes from Tuesday, May, whatever date, sorry. But yeah, just for the minutes, if you can always say the full motion.
Thank you. I motion to approve the minutes from the last council meeting on May 10th.
Alicia motions. Can I get a second?
I, Juan Flores, the Community Service Commissioner, second that motion.
Alicia motions, 1 second. All in favor, please raise your hand.
And Carl, just to let you know, if you look at the participant list, it will count for you how many people have raised their hand.
Yeah, I see. Yeah, Naomi just told me. So, nah, thank you though. Thank you. By vote of, okay, we got 13. Are we missing one hand? Okay. So by a vote of 13 to 0, the minutes from last week are approved. All right, so now we'll move into public comment. Public comment is a time for students to voice their concerns. As Breeze used to say, remember that freedom of speech doesn't hold you from freedom of accountability. So we'll open public comment at 7:11. Please raise your hand to be promoted if you want to give public comment. I see one hand so far. I see Ananya.
Those that are public comment, once you have entered the room, please re-raise your hand so Carl can see you. There you go.
Okay, I see 3 hands currently raised. Wait, 2 hands currently raised. We'll go in order as I see them. Remember, public comment is 2 minutes. Clara, do you want to go first?
Sure. Thank you so much. Hello, my name is Clara. I'm the CalPERG chapter chair at UCLA, and I'm just here to give a weekly update for our organization. So for those of you who might not know, CalPERG Students is a student-run, student-funded nonprofit organization with chapters across the state. We work to protect the environment and public health, make college more affordable, and promote civic engagement. And over the years, we've done things like protect billions of dollars of Pell Grant funding. In the 2020 elections, we registered 10,000 students to vote, and we also got the UC system to commit to phase out single-use plastics. So for some quick updates, we're currently working on a sustainability festival that will be in Bruin Plaza during week 10. And ourselves and some other student groups are going to educate students on issues of sustainability through fun games and activities. So we're hoping it will be an opportunity for students to de-stress before finals and also learn something new before the upcoming elections, both the primaries that will be the following week during finals week and also the midterms in November, where there's environmental measures on the ballot. And finally, I've reached out to all of you to set up a meeting to talk more about CalPERG and how we can work together, and also discuss how you can help us urge the City Council to pass legislation on the issue of plastic pollution. So if you could check your inboxes and get back to me, that would be awesome. And I look forward to working with all of you this year. So thank you so much.
Thank you for coming. All right, next we got Ananya. I hope I'm pronouncing your name. Let me know if I'm not pronouncing your name right.
It's Ananya, thank you. All right, so in March of 2021, USAC passed a resolution calling for the UC to divest from war and weapons manufacturing and to halt all relationships with the BlackRock investment firm. Despite this resolution, the UC continues to partner with BlackRock, a firm that invests in several UCLA funds in weapons manufacturing, which is used to perpetrate violence against marginalized communities in the US and many occupied and oppressed peoples in the global South. So the UC regions are meeting this week on UCLA campus, and among their agenda are discussions on investments and UC financial strategy. So I'm representing a coalition of organizations, UC Divest. We are intended to put pressure on the regions and the administration to follow through with the desire of the student body that has voted to divest from war and violence. So tomorrow, when the bulk of their meetings are taking place, the UC Divest Coalition will be hosting an all-day sit-in with a rally from 12 to 2 p.m. outside the Luskin Conference Center and Hotel. We're calling on UCLA students and USAC to support our action tomorrow, our campaign for divestment, and to help put pressure on the administration to stop investing in war and violence. Divestment campaigns have a long history of success in pushing against violence and apartheid, have been used frequently in the past by USAC itself, and is something that all of us should support. Please show your commitment to opposing violence, war, and occupation by supporting the UC Divest Coalition and our actions tomorrow and in the future. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Anani. Thank you for coming. Do we have any more last call for public comment? Anyone else? Any more hands? Okay. Well, okay. So it seems like, okay, that's it. Well, I'll be closing public comment at 7:15 p.m. So next up is capital contingency. Yes, Jessica.
I think Jenny had mentioned in the chat she had to hop off for a minute and she'll be back, so we might need to come back for contingency. But I also just really quickly, if I can have Sydney, there was something within the minutes we just wanted to clarify for you all. So if I can pass it to Sydney really quick too.
Hi. So last week we did not pass one of the bylaw changes as we were going through them. And I think it was going to be moved to this week, but because it's not on the agenda, we have to wait for next week. So if we could just put that on the agenda to be voted on next week, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, and to clarify, it was just there were a lot of bylaw changes in the same doc, and so just one of the votes got missed. So since it's not in the record, we just need that formal vote. And I believe, Sydney can correct me if I'm wrong, I believe the change was just a formatting change for the bylaws. So it's not really anything that's substantive, but we will share around that particular page of the vote that was missed so that you all know and can see what it is. And then bring it forward on your agenda next week so that we can vote to approve it, just so that we make sure the bylaws are up to date with that formatting change in the minutes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
Contingency programming. Oh, well, Jessica, Jenny's not here. SFS allocations. One, do you have anything?
Yes, sorry, I'm pulling up my little transcript. So for this week, for SFS funding, we have a total of $9,019.33 of funding that we allocated to service projects, and this is a consent item.
Okay, so I just asked, does anyone oppose this, correct?
That's correct.
All right, does anyone oppose the SFS allocations that one just brought forward? Yes, Sydney?
Can I just clarify, was it to 2 CSC orgs or what was it to?
I'm sorry, I haven't done quite the math, but it's to both community service orgs under the Community Service Commission and service orgs outside of the commission.
So it would be to 1 CSC org and 1 non-CSC org. Is that correct, Juan?
Oh, the SFS funding is of a total of we currently have sorry.
While Juan is pulling that up, just for everybody, in a Zoom format, what we would ask you all to do is just be, if for anyone who has any funding, just be prepared to also drop it in the chat. That helps the minutes taker to get the exact amount down to the penny. So you would say the amount, and then to either the to which group and the number of groups that are within the organization. So either within CSC or within USAC or within SWC, whatever funding source it is, and then to any funding sources that are outside of that organization.
Can we come back to this item while I finish?
Yeah, we can move on to SWC. Just let me know when you're ready to
Thank
go
you.
back. So we're moving on to SWC programming fund allocations.
Yes. Okay, perfect. So, SWC allocated 610, 215, and $700 to three non-USAC entities, totaling $1,525 to these groups. Is that good?
Awesome. Is that a consent item or that's just
I think it's just a report.
okay? Awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll move on to Bruin advocacy grant allocations. Wait, I'm sorry. Wait a second. Jenny's here. All right, can we move back to capital contingency real quick?
Hi guys, sorry, I'm at Disneyland, but congratulations to new council. I'm the finance committee chair. If you have not met me before, nice to meet you. I'm just in charge of like 2 big funds that we have at USAC. But sorry, I forgot to strike this, but no capital contingency allocations for this week. Can we just go to contingency programming?
Yes, we can move to that. Yeah, contingency programming. We can move that next.
Okay, yes, sorry. Guys, gotta enjoy your senior year. So I sent this spreadsheet in here, and then this week we allocated, let me write it in the chat, $14,567 and 23 cents to, sorry, I have this number, 40 non-USAC entities. So yes, let me know if you have any questions. We're still dealing with issues with limited funding, but I do think we'll have enough to carry us through the end of the year, which I'm very excited about.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Jenny. Enjoy Disneyland, okay?
Thank you.
All right.
So, Carl,
right.
this is a vote.
Oh, this is a vote?
We will need to vote on contingency programming, yep, for the $14,567.23.
Okay, awesome. All right, so can I get a motion?
I move to approve $14,567.23 to 40 non-USAC entities.
Can I get a second?
I second. Sarah Rahim.
Eliana motion, Sarah seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, we got there we go. 12. All right, any more? Okay, so all right, we got 12 in favor. Are there anyone abstaining? Please lower your hand if you're not abstaining currently. All right, any against? Okay, by a vote of 13 to 0, contingency programming is approved for this week. Okay, so moving forward, we'll now move to the Bruin advocacy grant allocations. Divine.
There was no funding allocation for the bag this week.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Wait, what did Jenny say? Sorry. Oh, she's pressing the share link now. Need permission to view. Okay. ASRF allocations, Cortez.
Hi, there are no ASRF allocations for this week. Neither are there any allocations for TGMF this week as well.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much. And then then you said, did you already go to the AAC travel mini grant? Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, and then ARC allocations. Where is, was that supposed to be, or were you supposed to strike that? ARC allocations?
So that's the Cultural Affairs Commissioner.
Alicia?
Alicia.
Yes, hello. I don't have any updates. We have not allocated any funds this week.
Okay, no problem. Thank you. And then TGIF?
Hey everyone, the Green Initiative Fund allocated $965.50 to 5 non-USAC entities.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. All right, moving forward, we don't have any special presentations this week or any appointments currently, so we'll move straight into officer reports. All right, so for officer reports, typically the way this goes is the president, the IVP, and the EVP give like verbal reports. Everyone else gives written, but obviously you guys are free to give verbal reports if you want to. I would recommend everybody give it this week since no one probably wrote it down. But so for my office, over the last week, we've just been working to. I really can't say week because there's only like 2 of us at this point, but been working to hire individuals. So I'm just working on staff in the next couple of weeks, and getting access to all the presidential Gmail accounts and Instagram and Twitter accounts. So that's pretty much what I'm working on. And okay. Let me pause that. Okay, so Daniela, you want me to go back to CSC fund?
Yeah, I think Juan was trying to go back to an item.
Juan, you want to go back to CSC fund? Yeah, we can go back.
Sorry, thank you so much, Daniela, and thank you, Carl. So I do have the new numbers. Sorry about that. So we did allocate to one CSC org a total of $1,497.28, and to 8 other non-CSC orgs, we allocated a total of $7,522.05.
All right, awesome. Thank you. And Sydney, did you get that?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, and this is a consent item. So is there anyone that opposes this? Okay, awesome. We'll move forward. Thank you so much for that one. All right, now we'll be moving forward with reports from the external vice president.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, does Milan go before me or?
I think it's listed as internal first.
It says internal. I'm so sorry. I just read that. Yeah, internal vice president. Sorry.
Oh yeah, no worries. I can give my officer report. So my office has been working on just 2 things. And the first thing is just transitioning into office. I've been looking through the transition documents given to me by Cassandra, and that includes like gaining access into IVP social media and emails, and also picking up the IVP work like creating this agenda here today, as well as hosting these online meetings and logistics for these meetings. And then the second thing that we're doing is just hiring for the office. We're working on the hiring documents and office descriptions. So more information will be released about that in next week's meeting.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Milan. Thank you. EVP?
Yeah, so similar to Carl and Milan, I've just been acclimating to the position of EVP. I've been working with a few directors that I do have in office already, and establishing my application and plan on putting those out within the coming days. Other than that, just meeting with Sarah, the past EVP, and getting acclimated and learning more from what I need to know for this position. Yeah.
Thank you, Devon. Gen Rep 1.
So my officer report has just been learning what Gen Rep does. I've been talking to Carl to learn about the position and what we can do. I've also been working on getting access to the Instagram so that we could get the students to know what we're doing.
Awesome. Thank you, Keon. Gen Rep 2.
Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's having a great week 8. Mainly, I've been working on meeting with PASL tomorrow, doing everything transition, also working on drafting my application for staff directors, executive staff, et cetera, et cetera. But yeah, just mainly transitioning, and more information will be coming out next week. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Naomi. Gen Rep 3.
Hello, lovely people. So I just had some great meetings. Just had a wonderful meeting with J-Ro Nemo, incoming chair of the African Student Union, and Tim Mylan, Sarah Brukim, and I are working on some moving assistance for former foster youth at UCLA. Also got to co-write, sponsor some resolutions, been talking with amazing people at the Disabled Students Union, so much love to them. Could not do this without them. And yeah, also been moving into my office. So thank you, Carl, and thank you to Eliza Aiken for your assistance. Yeah, great to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Eliana. Academic Affairs Commissioner.
Hi, thank you, everyone. Yeah, very similar to what folks have already said. Just been working on transitioning, closing out some of the work in the AAC email, and preparing for hirings, which the applications are currently out. I've also been communicating with different community orgs about recruitment. So if folks see that post on the Instagram, we are still actively hiring. So would really appreciate if y'all could help boost. But other than that, I do have a meeting scheduled for later on this week with the MSA. So I will probably have more updates for y'all about that at the next meeting.
Thank you, Daniela. Campus Events Commissioner.
Hi, everybody. I've just been interviewing like directors for the staffs. So working on that and kind of just like transitioning, learning like exactly my responsibilities for next year. Yeah, that's about it.
Thank you, Giovanna. Community Service Commissioner.
Everyone. For my office, I've been working on hiring new directors. My chief of staff, Rashika, and assistant commissioner, Julia, have been amazing at helping spearhead this. And I've also been slowly but surely transitioning into the responsibilities of commissioner, helping Eliana with a resolution, getting a hold of the email account for the commissioner, and just catching up. So thank you.
Thank you, Juan. Cultural Affairs Commissioner.
Hi, everyone. My office has been currently been in the process of transitioning, been working closely with Promise, meeting with Pam, and which is my sole advisor. We are finalizing the application for directors and administrative directors. Hopefully put that out in the next few days, and getting ready for Jazz Reggae Festival.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alicia. Facilities Commissioner.
Hi, everyone. So mainly doing transitioning meetings with the previous facilities commissioner this week. We have our applications for executive positions open until Friday, May 20th, and then the application for our director's positions until next Wednesday, May 25th. I have been interviewing a few individuals for chief of staff positions already, and there is one continuing project, which is the reusable diningware takeout program with Rendezvous, and we just had a walkthrough with Al, the head of dining, and Alex, an assistant director of dining, and Sarah Stockford from Housing and Hospitality.
Awesome. Thank you, Phoebe. Financial Supports Commissioner.
Hi, everyone. Hope y'all are having a good week 8. Same for finance. I met with the previous financial supports commissioner, and she just sort of passed off the reins. We're focusing on transitioning into the role and also just hiring people for my office. Also, working with Eliana to promote foster youth employment at UCLA, and then also starting to set up the process for returning of like lab coats, eye clickers, and other classroom stuff. That's pretty much it.
Awesome. Thank you, Sarah. Student Wellness Commissioner.
Hi. So this last week we've been working on transitioning between the commission, former commissioner and I, and then we're also focusing on hiring. So our applications actually just closed for SWC, and we will have our new e-board and committee directors next week. In addition to that, we've been meeting with the COVID-19 case management team for making recommendations and advocating for student voices when it comes to the future of UCLA amidst the pandemic. And that has been it for now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. It's Anna, correct?
Anna. Yeah.
Anna. Okay, it's Anna. Okay,
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry about that. Thank you, Anna.
No worries.
Next, we have transfer student rep. Is Teddy here?
I think he's the only member that's not here today.
Oh, okay. All right. We'll talk to Teddy about that. He missed the first meeting. All right. International student representative.
Hi everyone. So this week I've mostly spent transitioning like everyone else, talking to a lot of different people and figuring out what goes on in their office, and then trying to form connections, and then also gonna begin my hiring process very soon. That's the agenda for the next week. So that's about it for this week.
Okay. Thank you so much, Hanska. So next we have admin reps. So Josh.
Hi, everybody. So you've all heard enough from me today, but I do want to say if anyone is having any issues with transition documents, reports, logins, please make sure you reach out to Jessica, Orlando, Patty, or myself so we can help you with that transition if need be. So, and if there's anything that you need from us, any questions that you have, how does this work? This doesn't make sense. Don't hesitate to reach out. You all have our contact information. So we are here to support you. And so far, y'all are doing amazing on your first meeting. Great leadership by Carl in this meeting, and all of you have done an amazing job. So just 51 more weeks to go. Yes. Thank you.
Nice. Thank you, Josh. Orlando.
Hello, everyone. Just once again, congratulations. And to go off what Josh is saying, yes, definitely reach out if you have any questions. As I was saying, I do come from the Seoul office, so don't forget to update any signatory or transition information for not only these organizations, but any other organizations that you help represent. This is the time of year that transition usually occurs, and you don't want the new leaders to miss out any new information going out to the RCOs. So yes, please don't hesitate to reach out. That's it.
Thank you, Orlando. Jessica.
Hello, everybody. So I just have a couple quick little updates that I wanted to mention. So as you prepare to get access to your physical office space, we did give the outgoing council members 2 weeks to be able to clean up, clear out their stuff. So if you're able to get access beforehand, great. But just if they need some time to clear their things out, just give them a little bit of time for that. And then basically after that 2-week period, which I think ends either this Friday or next Friday, we'll be turning off access for everybody. And I'll be sharing an access request form. So you get access to your offices through your Bruin card. And you all will sign off and authorize access for other folks in your office. So if anybody from the office is staying on board who currently has access and wants to continue access next year, we can chat offline. Just message me or email me and let me know. If it's a really large group of people, we'll try to work something out. But otherwise, as an FYI, everybody who currently has access to that door is going to be shut off. And then everybody will need to get new access added for the next academic year. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. And then definitely for your office emails, you all should have access by this point. Since your agenda, your minutes, formal documents will be coming to the all council email. If you don't have access, let me know. I can have our webmaster reset the password for you if it somehow got lost in transition. And otherwise, if there are any other email access issues, usually we can amend that pretty quickly. Social media is a little bit harder because a lot of times like Facebook accounts, things like that are tied to like an individual account. So if you're having issues there, we'll still try to do what we can to help you, but we may not be able to retain access. So, just keep us posted. And then I'll also be sharing out information, or I'll have SGA, Student Government Accounting, share out information to get your hiring paperwork started. We want to get all of that started now before you leave for the summer. This way we can get you into the UCPath system before you're not around campus. But just as an FYI for that process, you will need some documents for your I-9. So usually that's like your social security card, things like that. So we'll let you know what HR documents you need to be processed to give you a little bit of time to be able to get those if you need to get them from home, and then or make arrangements to get those documents handy to be able to be hired into UCPath for your position. And then, we'll also be in touch about your office budgets and helping you get, staff onboarded. Your budget discussion will come up later in the year. So your funds are available starting August 1. So you don't currently have access to funds right now, but we can still, answer any questions you might have and kind of like help you understand what your office budget typically looks like. So all of those good things and more to come. We also have a training on Friday, so hopefully y'all can join us there. Food will be provided. Hopefully we see you. If not, we'll be in contact to, get you the information and make sure, we answer any questions. So I think that's kind of it for now. Hopefully that wasn't too much. If there's any questions, let me know. And glad to be working with y'all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jessica. Next, we have Patty.
Hi, everyone. Good evening. I just want to echo what Josh was mentioning of what a great first meeting and great work, you all, and look forward to working with you moving into the school year. And I know we're going to have the opportunity to talk a little bit more about funding coming up and access to your funding as we move forward into the school year, and we'll probably touch on that a little bit more next week. I'm seeing that question. So it really depends. So the current funds right now are the outgoing councils. So there are some initiatives that kind of carry over into that next event. So if you have a specific example, we can kind of discuss that maybe offline to see if that's something that we can fund or if it's something that goes through contingency. But again, this, for the most part, for example, some of your assistance line items, all of those aren't until August. So just kind of keeping that in mind, but we can go over that in more detail next week at our USAC training prior to USAC council meeting. But if you have questions, it'd be great for you to send them to me and Jessica prior to next week, so then we can make sure we address those in our training session.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Patty. Next, we have George.
There I am. Hi, everyone. My name is George. We met last week. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I said that. No big updates, but I do want to echo what everyone else has been saying. Good first meeting, Zoom, it's weird. But I'm looking forward to the day when y'all are sitting in Kirkhoff with each other in person, because that's a weird feeling as well. But a couple of things, actually. Carl, our Alumni Association board meeting is coming up soon on June 4th. It's a quarterly meeting that happens on Saturdays in the morning, but they feed you if you're able to come in person, right? It's usually customary for the USAC president to come and just be the rep for the student body. I can do those updates for you all as well as I've had this past year, but it's always nice to hear from a student voice as well. So we can connect offline to see if you'll be able to join us in person or via Zoom. Secondly, I will be sending emails to all of y'all individually to kind of introduce myself and try to set up like meetings, more like check-ins really, just to see how y'all doing and to see what type of potential opportunities there might be between y'all's offices as well with the Alumni Association, because the Alumni Association does a lot of different things. Maybe I can do a special presentation breaking it down so y'all have a better understanding of the shenanigans that we get ourselves into at the Alumni Association. So I'll talk to Carl about that as well in the future. And then lastly, this may sound nitpicky, y'all. I don't mean to be like a jerk about this, but as I've been saying through the past 2 councils, when you want to make a motion, you say, I move to ... Because if you say, I motion, in my head, I think you're doing this. You know, no, you're not motioning on the screen. You're moving a particular topic or a particular vote to the table. So yeah, just so you can be muted, but let's practice. I move to, I want to see lips. Come on. I move to, okay, because you don't know how ingraining that is to me when I hear I motion. But I hope at the first meeting, I scared y'all a bit about that. And that'll be it from me. Sorry about that.
Awesome. Thank you, George. Hey, he yelled at us about this last year. We still messed it up for like 2 months straight. So it's all right. All right, awesome. Next, so we don't have any old business. I do understand that we were supposed to vote on a bylaw that didn't pass through because of a formality change. So that's something we'll have to add to the next agenda. For new business, all right, we're talking about the appointment search committee. We're talking about these committees, right? Now, I don't have anything specific on these because I wanted to just kind of bring them before council because there were a lot of bylaw changes that affect all of these committees, if I'm not mistaken, at the last council meeting. So I just kind of wanted to go through those bylaws real quick and then just kind of determine like how that would look for the appointments to these committees. So yeah. Milan, is there any way you can pull up the appointment search, like the bylaws regarding that one? I know I put you on spot with that. I'm sorry. If we can table this discussion though for next week if
The
y'all want.
bylaws that was presented at our last meeting.
Yeah.
Promise. Wait, let me find it. If you could move to the next agenda item first.
Okay. We'll just actually. So what we'll do is we'll get back to the committee discussions towards the end if she can find those. If not, then we can just table them for next discussion. But I know we got to get on. I think Jessica's about to say that right now. Yeah, what'd you say, Jessica?
Yeah, no, I just wanted to just put on your radar. So the main things that are super urgent for where appointments are concerned is you need to make your ASUCLA Board of Directors appointment before the end of the quarter because there's a mandatory retreat that they need to be present at, and that retreat date's already set. So if we are not able to make that appointment by week 10, you would need to have a finals week meeting. So having the appointments review committee and your appointment search committee together like now so that you can start looking through applicants and try to bring somebody forward for an interview. Next Tuesday is kind of quick turnaround, but definitely by week 10, because with this appointment in particular, it doesn't always, the first person that comes up doesn't always get approved by council. So if you don't approve the person and you need to go back and search for a new one, you're kind of just cutting yourself really short on time. So that's why, definitely have a robust discussion about it now so that you can try to be prepared for next week to get it on your agenda so that we're bringing somebody forward and getting them appointed. This way they can make that mandatory retreat.
Okay, thank you so much, Patricia. Patty?
Yes, I just wanted to give the dates of the retreat because it's also comes in handy to make sure the appointments know during the interview process It is a mandatory in-person retreat, June 13th through the 15th. It'll start in Ackerman, and then they will go off-site to Bruin Woods for a 2-night stay, and then return on the 15th. So I just want to clarify, it does come in handy to make sure that's communicated out to your appointment so they're aware prior to taking the position that they're free to attend that retreat.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, yeah, so we'll have that discussion once we bring the bylaws up and kind of like read through them so everyone understands like, you know, how that's going to affect council this year. And then, you know, we can kind of discuss offline. I remember last year, Breeze just kind of messaged people and was like, yo, who wants to be on this committee? And then we just put people based off of that, okay? So right now, though, we'll move into the resolutions. I think the first resolution, Daniela, if you want to, I think you or someone else wanted to present this resolution.
Yeah, I was just texting the person who's going to hop on and actually present this resolution on behalf of Samahang Filipino and Akbayan at UCLA. I guess I can just introduce him while he hops on. It's going to be Ryan Factora. He is currently the retention board for SPEAR, which is the retention project for Samahang Filipino. He actually just hopped on. So would it be helpful to folks if I share my screen with the resolution while Ryan goes over it? Awesome.
Hi, yeah, thank you so much, Daniela, for the introduction. And so first of all, before we start reading the resolution, I kind of wanted to just go into a little bit of background as to what this resolution concerns. And so I'll introduce myself again. My name is Ryan. I use he, him pronouns. I currently serve as the retention coordinator of Samahang Filipino, which is one of 2 organizations that is supporting the resolution today. So a little bit of background on the organizations that are supporting this resolution. Samahang Filipino was founded in 1972, and ever since then, it has advocated for the interests of Filipinx students at UCLA. It is currently one of the 10 mother organizations of the Mother Organization Coalition. The second organization supporting the resolution today, Anak Bayan at UCLA, is a branch of Anak Bayan, a left-wing grassroots youth organization that seeks to establish national democracy in the Philippines. So we come to you today to urge you to sign onto the resolution entitled A Resolution in Support of Filipinx Students at UCLA in light of recent electoral events in the Philippines. So for a little more background, on May 9th, the Filipino elections occurred, concluding with the presumptive victory of Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Sara Duterte for the offices of the presidency and vice presidency, respectively. For many Filipinx people, both in the motherland and throughout the diaspora, this news has evoked feelings of fear, dread, and anger. Sara Duterte, the daughter of current President Rodrigo Duterte, has pledged to carry on his legacy consisting of a brutal war on drugs, the red tagging of civilians, and the overall expansion of a militaristic police state. However, for many, the return of Ferdinand Marcos Jr. is even more terrifying. Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s father, Ferdinand Marcos Sr., was a brutal dictator who illegally arrested and killed tens of thousands of Filipinx people, displaced hundreds of thousands of indigenous folks from their ancestral lands, and plunged the country into poverty in order to line the pockets of his lackeys. The return of Marcos is especially relevant to both of the organizations that are supporting this resolution. Samahang Filipino was founded the exact same year that Ferdinand Marcos Sr. declared martial law, and much of its early programming focused on anti-Marcos advocacy. To this day, we still say the phrase isang bagsak, which directly translates to one down in English. This was a common slogan used by anti-Marcos protesters during martial law. Anak Bayan finds its roots in Kabataang Magabayan, one of the first youth organizations that rebelled against Marcos's brutal martial law. The victory of the Marcos Duterte regime is one that has been enabled by endemic corruption, severe whitewashing of history, and outdated voting technology. I urge all council members to vote yes on this resolution to support Filipinx students at UCLA, and we can go ahead and start reading. Can you scroll to the top, Danny? For sure. Whereas the 2022 Filipino elections occurred on May 9th, 2022, and whereas officials announced in preliminary election results that Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Sara Duterte received a majority of votes for the office of the President and Vice President of the Republic of the Philippines, and whereas Sara Duterte's father and the current President of the Philippines, Rodrigo Duterte, signed into law the Anti-Terror Act of 2020, undeniably infringing upon the people's rights to expression and protest. And whereas Rodrigo Duterte's reign has been marked by widespread extrajudicial murder committed under his war on drugs campaign, leading to the deaths of over 12,000 Filipinxes, and whereas Rodrigo Duterte has endangered the lives of Filipinx people with his campaign of terror and increased amounts of policing and militarism to oppress journalists, activists, and citizens. And whereas Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s father, Ferdinand Marcos Sr., established martial law in the Philippines in 1972, resulting in 3,257 deaths, 35,000 instances of torture, and 70,000 arrests. And whereas under Ferdinand Marcos Sr.'s reign, indigenous peoples such as the Igorot, Lumad, and Moro communities suffered the destruction of their ancestral lands by multinational corporations, the displacement of hundreds of thousands of indigenous peoples from their homes, and the mass murder and violence against indigenous peoples. And whereas the rampant corruption and cronyism of Ferdinand Marcos Sr.'s regime plunged the Philippine economy into the worst crisis it has ever had, putting 59% of the country into poverty. These same economic policies resulted in the current diaspora of Filipinx overseas workers and a wave of immigration to the United States. And whereas Ferdinand Marcos Sr. was ousted in the People Power Revolution, a mass action consisting of millions of Filipinx people taking to the streets in protest of the dictatorship. And whereas many Filipinx Americans, particularly those at UCLA, stood in solidarity with anti-Marcos groups in the Philippines by participating in actions such as the Far West People's Conventions, and whereas Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and his family have emphatically denied the wrongdoings of Ferdinand Marcos Sr., engaging in egregious historical revisionism by using their vast wealth, political connections, and mass media control. And whereas the Marcos Duterte tandem have pledged to continue the violent legacy of President Rodrigo Duterte, and whereas the resurgence of the Marcoses and the rise of the Dutertes are emblematic of the endemic corruption within the dynastic politics of the Philippines, which has resulted in as many as 90% of elected offices being controlled by dynastic families, and whereas the United States has actively facilitated the corrupt politics of the Philippines by socially, economically, and militarily backing both the Marcos and Duterte regimes, and whereas there are Filipinx students, faculty, and service workers who are deeply concerned about or who have been personally affected by the Marcos and Duterte dynasties, many Filipinx students, particularly those with families still in the Philippines, have expressed constant fear and anxiety about the safety of their families, posing a direct threat to their retention. And whereas the COVID-19 pandemic has had disproportionate effects on the Filipinx American community, exacerbating the feelings that many Filipinx Americans are currently feeling. Therefore, let it be resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council stands in solidarity with our Filipinx students whose families, communities, and homelands are being put directly at risk by Marcos Duterte tandem. Let it further be resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council resoundingly condemns the United States support by the Biden administration of the Marcos Duterte presumptive victory. Let it be further resolved at the Undergraduate Student Association Council calls on university faculty and administration to take a public stance condemning Ferdinand Marcos Jr. and Sara Duterte. Let it be further resolved that as a result from widespread information by the Marcos Duterte candidacy and the use of faulty machinery for election polling results, the Undergraduate Student Association joins in support of the organizations calling upon the conduction of an investigation of the 2022 Filipino elections. Let it be further resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council calls on the Academic Senate and academic departments at UCLA to implement academic leniency for all Filipinx students who have been affected by the results of this recent election in the Philippines in accordance with the traumatic responses that this news may trigger. Let it be further resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council calls on the UCLA community at large to extend empathy and understanding to Filipino students in a holistic manner through academic leniency, offering psychological resources, and exemplifying solidarity with the Filipinx community. Let it be further resolved that in their public stance, the university must also acknowledge the historical roots that contextualize the extreme harm of these electoral results in order to advance a collective, institution-wide consciousness of these histories. Let it be further resolved that with the election of Marcos Duterte, the Undergraduate Student Association Council stands fervently in support of the Philippine Human Rights Act, established in response to Duterte's terrorization of the Filipinx community during his term, and demands that the UCLA administration endorse it as well to pressure government authorities to divest from the US-Philippine arms deals and further violations of human rights. Let it be further resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council recognizes that throughout its history, UCLA has invested in social structures, institutions, and corporations that profit from white supremacy, cis heteropatriarchy, and imperialism. Today, UCLA is part and parcel of the US police force, itself an extension of the US war machine, spreading its technologies, weapons, and tactics across the streets of Afghanistan, Iraq, Palestine, the Philippines, Mauna Kea, Somalia, Cuba, Brazil, Mexico, Native Nations and Reservations, Mohawk Nation, San Diego, US borderlands, and Los Angeles, which is why the Undergraduate Student Association Council supports UC Divest. Let it be further resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council opposes the university's abominable profiting from death. Finally, let it be resolved that the Undergraduate Student Association Council urges the University of California to divest from funding war and militarization in the interest of their institutional dollars at the expense of survivors and victims of historic and present imperialism and militarist violence, as well as terror imposed by the US government and other nations who support and fund war machines. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ryan. At this time, I think is when we call to council if they have any comments that they'd like to raise.
Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate your amazing work on this and your amazing service to the entire community at UCLA.
Thank you so much, Eliana. I appreciate your kind words.
Awesome. Seeing no comments from folks, do we move to a vote now, Carl?
Yeah, thank you so much for coming, Ryan. Yeah, so can we get a motion? If no one has any questions or concerns, can we get a motion?
Phoebe Chu, I move to pass the resolution.
Yeah, I think you have to say the full name, right? Like I moved to
Sorry, Phoebe Chu, I move to pass the resolution in support of Filipinx students at UCLA in light of recent electoral events in the Philippines.
Can we get a second?
Milan Lee, I second.
All right, Phoebe motions, Milan seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, all against. All abstaining. Okay, by a vote of 12-0-1, the resolution passes in support of the Philippine. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Let me say the name correctly. Yeah. So yeah, by a motion of 12-0-1, the resolution passes in support of the Philippines election. Yeah. So we're moving on. Thank you so much for coming, Ryan, and thank you for all the work that you guys put into this. Okay. All right. Next, we have resolution in solidarity with survivors. We got Daniela. I think that's you again. Or wait, I'm sorry. That is actually Juan and Eliana.
Juan, you want to go? Should I? Should we both?
You can go ahead, Eliana.
Thanks, Juan. And shout out to Juan. He did great work writing and sponsoring this resolution. And shout out to, let me pull this up. Shout out to Carl King and to Hansika Nath for sponsoring. Much appreciated. So let me share the screen. And just a bit of background. There's something that's important for students who have experienced sexual assault, who've been drugged, who've faced various forms of violence and abuse. And there are currently barriers to access, and this is caught linked for those to be removed. So, whereas sexual assault and the drugging of students at parties are severe and widespread problems at UCLA, and whereas without access to toxicology tests, students cannot prove they have been drugged and often cannot even be sure of whether or not they were drugged, and whereas toxicology tests are prohibitively expensive and hard to access for most students and are provided by the Arthur Ashe Student Health and Wellness Center, only on the recommendation of law enforcement or on medically indicated, leading to unnecessary delays and barriers to access for large numbers of students. And whereas many students, including leaders of the Bruin Consent Coalition, the Pan-Hellenic community, and the Daily Bruin editorial board, have called for toxicology tests to be provided for free to anyone who needs one. And whereas the absence of on-site affordable toxicology tests is a form of institutional betrayal, and that UCLA lacks the essential tools to corroborate the survivor's testimony in order to prompt accountability and justice for the violation of UCLA's Student Group Conduct Code. Therefore, let it be resolved that the UCLA Undergraduate Student Association Council, USAC, stands in solidarity with all survivors and their allies and calls for increased funding and policy change enabling and requiring the Arthur Ashe Center to provide toxicology tests to all who seek them for free and without delay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Eliana and Juan for working on this. Are there any questions, concerns, or comments that anyone want to say for this?
I just want to check, did you all speak with the leaders mentioned in the student groups?
I mentioned it in the Bruin Consent Coalition group chat, but I haven't gotten a reply at the moment. If you want to table it, waiting on that, you can do that, whatever you like.
Okay, I think that I would love to have them involved in the conversation when it comes to passing this resolution.
So should we table it?
I believe so, especially because they are one of SWC's committees.
Good idea. Thanks, Anna.
Thank you so much. I would love to see this passed too.
Yeah, let's do it. Thank you. So let's table this. We can do it next week, and I'll talk to everyone in the meantime. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. Josh, how does that work? Will we just...
Yeah, totally okay to table it. What we want to do is, Milan, you will want to make sure that it is put back onto the council meeting for next week under old business. And we would need the new link with the updated wording by 5 o'clock Friday. Oh, wait, is this a holiday weekend? No, it's not. Next week is a holiday weekend, so we're good to go. So if council, if we want to put it back on, we would put it under old business for next week with the updated link.
Awesome. Okay. Well, we'll move to Eliana's next resolution. Resolution regarding the removal of punitive notations from the transcripts of students affected by disabilities and emergencies.
Thank you very much, Carl. So first of all, thank you to the lovely people in the Disabled Students Union. I've been talking with a bunch of them about this and could not have done it without their advice and support. So thank you, and thank you to Carl King, Kansaika Nath, and Juan Flores for co-sponsoring. Appreciate it. Great work, everybody. So here is the resolution. Whereas a grade of incomplete is assigned when a student's work is of adequate quality but is incomplete for good cause. This means that students do not get grades of incomplete because they are irresponsible or unwilling to complete their coursework, but rather due to circumstances beyond their control, such as disabilities and chronic illnesses, hospitalizations, large and necessary increases in working hours, natural disasters, and deaths in the immediate family. Whereas incompletes are intended to assist and not penalize students. However, many employers and fellowship grant and financial award programs discriminate against students who have gotten incomplete, either by rejecting their applications, accepting them only if they are overqualified compared to those who do not have incompletes on their transcripts, or requiring them to explain why they got an incomplete, which means disclosing a disability and/or painful personal event they endured, and therefore puts them at risk of further discrimination and is psychologically taxing. Whereas inflicting this harm on students who have not done anything wrong, just because circumstances beyond their control made it necessary for them to be given extra time to complete their coursework, is unjust and incompatible with the true Bruin value of respect. I will respect the rights and dignity of others. Whereas students with disabilities and chronic illnesses, including those living with long COVID, are especially likely to get incompletes since they may need extra time to do their work due to hospitalizations, fatigue, pain flares, or many other difficulties caused by disability and chronic illness. Whereas disadvantaged students in general are more likely to get incompletes since they are more vulnerable to financial emergencies which cause large and necessary increases in working hours, their families are more vulnerable to various emergencies which they may have to respond to as caregivers, and environmental injustice puts them at greater risk of natural disasters. Whereas UCLA's academic senate, administration, and student body have all expressed their commitments to non-discrimination, civil rights, equity, diversity, and inclusion for all communities, including disabled people, which means they have committed to removing unjust obstacles and establishing equal opportunity and dignity for all members of the UCLA community. Whereas all students who get incomplete notations on their transcript have endured obstacles which a truly equitable university must do its best to remove. And since disabled students frequently get incomplete notations due to their disabilities, current practices of leaving incomplete notations on students' transcripts forever is a form of discrimination on the basis of disability, as well as a barrier to the inclusion of disabled students and the diversification of higher education. Whereas other UCs have decided to put a stop to the misuse of incomplete notations to punish and discriminate against students instead of helping them by not leaving incomplete notations on their students' transcripts forever. Whereas leaving incomplete notations on students' transcripts forever puts a stigmatizing and harmful mark on many disabled students because of their need for disability accommodations, and is therefore a form of flagging, a practice of marking the records of students who need disability accommodations in a way that indicates their disabilities and needs for accommodations. Flagging needlessly exposes the disabled students to discrimination, and therefore the Justice Department and federal courts have ruled that flagging is a violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. Therefore, let it be resolved that USAC stand with the brilliant activists for disability rights and students' rights who have been working for years to reform incomplete notation, and that USAC urges the academic senate to make incomplete the temporary placeholders instead of permanent marks on student transcripts, so that we can return to the original goal of using incompletes to assist and not to punish students who do their best to complete their coursework despite the uncontrollable obstacles they face. Let it further be resolved that once a student either completes their work and gets a passing grade or does not complete it in time and gets an F, incomplete should be totally removed from their transcript and should be replaced by the same notation any other student would have in their transcript, indicating which quarter they took their class and what their final grade was. Additionally, the time given to students to complete their coursework and change their incomplete into a passing grade should be extended up to a year, because not all severe and uncontrollable obstacles can be removed in just one additional quarter.
Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Eliana. You're doing a great job. Thank you.
Thanks, Carl. Appreciate your support a lot.
All right. Does anyone want to give some comment? Okay, Juan.
Thank you so much, Eliana, for working on this. I do have some comments / suggestions that I want to make to edit the resolution, if that's okay with to cover.
Good idea.
Okay, so the first one that came to the when reading, when you read out loud the resolution, is in the second page, the paragraph that says, whereas disadvantaged students in general are likely to get incompletes since they are more vulnerable to financial emergencies, with large and necessary increases working hours, their families, and the rest. So that statement, I love it. I think that it can be improved, and the language can be made a little more flexible, so it's not suggesting that it's only those conditions that affect students. So we can say, for example, I can make a comment here. Since they are more vulnerable to barriers in completing their coursework. So that was the first thing that came to mind. So we are being flexible with our language, especially since this resolution is amazing. I think it has lots of potential for improving the career and academic and accessing all different opportunities for students, especially students with disabilities. The next thing is in the last paragraph, I would love if we can maybe separate out the additionally into a separate statement of like, let it further be resolved. And then this is, I would love if we maybe table this conversation or this resolution about the length of time that students have to complete their assigned coursework, just because I think it would be valuable to have input from the professors, especially since some professors don't work every single quarter. And, there's also the registrar's office and their kind of like procedures for updating transcripts and all of that. So I would love to see if we can have some of the faculty and admin weigh in on kind of like the flexibility and the opportunities for us to meet together to pass this resolution.
Great work, Juan. So yes, I made the changes you suggested. Do you think this is good? Thanks, really appreciate it. Thank you so much for taking the time to improve my resolution. Naomi?
Can I go ahead? Okay, yes, okay. First of all, I agree with all the previous comments and thank you for your work on this so far. Definitely just a small comment on page 3, paragraph 1, where we say like the other UCs. I think it would be nice to incorporate like a source so we can like specify which UCs that we're discussing, or if it's all of the other ones, then that's also good to know. In addition to that, I would like to see their time frame and going back to like the one additional quarter versus like what you're proposing being like an additional year. I would like to see what the other UCs are doing, since we have, it is stated in the resolution that they have stopped with the misuse of incomplete notations. So I just think that's an important thing to kind of look at. And yeah, just agreeing with the previous suggestions. I think this is great work so far, but if we can table it to incorporate some more discussions, I think that would be good.
So yeah, thank you, Naomi. So yeah, I have the part about the length. I'm gonna put that one aside for the future. And let's see.
Yeah, I was gonna say, so the way this works, I know because there's been some suggestion of tabling. If Eliana, I think there's a motion to like, you can motion to like have it tabled to the next meeting, or you can motion to kind of, I want to respect Eliana's wishes on this as well. If she wants to like, go forward with this, then obviously we can. And then people can vote the way they want to vote. If the changes that they suggested just, they just can't vote yes on it because of those, then that's fine too. But I just want to respect Eliana as well. And, or if someone wants to motion and move it to the next meeting because they feel like more work needs to be or more research or something like that needs to go into it, then that's fine too. So what are your thoughts on that?
What do you think, Naomi? Should we just make the changes and move it forward? What does everyone think?
Well, thank you so much. Eliana, for this. I would love, is there like I guess the question for Josh and Carl, is there like a time frame of how far we can table this? This is definitely a priority item for me, but I think that just considering the timeliness, we're approaching finals, we're having, all of these stressors that we have to meet, and deadlines that we have to meet, and I want to do justice to this resolution. How is there a possibility to answer that, like how far we can table this resolution?
Josh, you could take it, but from my understanding, it's typically when you move to table something, it's like you're moving to discuss it next meeting, correct, Josh?
Yeah, so we wouldn't want to continuously table and table and table and table. Ultimately, what we would say is we would eventually have to go to a vote, and then if people don't like it, they just have to vote against it. And I'm not saying that that's what people are saying in this case. Ultimately, we can table it for a week and then bring it to the next council meeting. But I think eventually, once it gets put onto the agenda and people and the public has now seen it and viewed it, we have an obligation to eventually vote on it. We can table 1 week, but eventually we will need to vote on it, or we can remove the resolution altogether and just take it off the table. And that's not about this resolution, that's just all resolutions. If we continuously just table it week after week after week after week, it loses its power. And the general public might just say, why is this even a resolution if council won't vote it in or vote it down? So I would say we can absolutely table it to gather more information for next week, but it potentially should be put onto council for next week for a vote.
I did add another source, and since it's already week 8 and we're coming towards the end of the quarter, feel like it might be nice to vote this in now, but if any of you think we shouldn't, then I'll table it.
Okay, so all right, so Eliana definitely wants to get it voted
Just
in.
say what
Right.
you think. Anyone can raise your hand and say we should wait, and then I'll do that up to y'all.
Okay, Phoebe?
Yeah, my question is mainly about like formatting for our resolutions, whether or not we want to like try to maintain consistency in the visual look of each of our resolutions, especially given like that council members are the ones that bring it to the floor. We can maintain consistency in format, but also I understand that like that's not something that's like necessary for the resolution. It was just a thought that I had if we did table this.
Sarah?
Considering the time frame of which we are in the quarter, I think we should vote on this right now. But that's just my 2 cents. I just think for something this pressing, especially with like if some people do have emergencies, we should try to pass this resolution like as soon as possible.
Thanks, everybody. So yeah, are y'all comfortable voting on this? Thank you, Sarah. Appreciate it.
I was gonna say, so for anyone who like, if you brought up tabling it and you really want to table it because you feel like there needs to be more at it, you can motion to table it to next week. And then we vote on whether we move it to next week or vote on it today. And then so if your motion passes to move it to next week, then we'll table it to next week. But if your vote if it fails, right, your motion to move it to next week, then we have to vote on it tonight.
And
right?
please feel free. Sorry. Thanks, Carl. Everyone, please feel free. I appreciate everyone who is acting to improve things for our community, and totally will be happy with you all, whether we decide to table this or vote on it this week.
Okay, no problem. Phoebe?
For people with more experience with like the way the registrar works, because I know for me being an undergraduate instructor, the grades for me aren't due until I think after June 10th, like the Thursday after most likely. So if we were to table it to next week, we would still have time, but it would cause another week of emotional stress to people that have incompletes at this time, of course. And then also like curiosity, like would I guess like voting on it this week, like besides like the emotional stress, which is obviously something serious that we need to consider, but would it like be logistically troublesome if we were to table it to the next meeting, if people had any like thoughts or experience with that. Specifically with the registrar, sorry.
Okay. So I think this is the way it's, okay, so yes, I think some people are still looking over resolution. So basically, yeah, this is how it's gonna go. Basically, if no one if you want to table it to next week, you can motion to table it to next week, but you have to do that now, and then someone has to second, and then we vote. But if you don't motion, then we'll just have to like motion to vote on it, and then everyone will have to vote on it tonight. So I'm just giving everybody opportunity to take a look at the resolution, and then yeah, I'm sorry. Yes, Juan.
Yeah, I would like to make a motion.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. I would like to move to table this resolution for the following reasons. First, I want to make sure that we, in this resolution, we clearly specify the, I guess, procedure for students who currently have in progress standing, and for that students that will be claiming in progress petitions for this quarter. And I think that is necessary to both be inclusive of who this resolution benefits, not just, this students that will be requesting in progress for this quarter, but also for last. And second, because I think it's a really amazing resolution that we can really build upon by next week. So I think, and I want to support that, and I want to do it justice. And I completely want to acknowledge that I agree that it's an additional week of emotional distress, but it seems like lots of us are in support of this resolution. So I feel like having the opportunity to build this out a little bit more to make sure that it's as impactful as possible might be the best course of action. So I move to table this for one more week.
One motions. Can I get a second?
Phoebe Chu, I second the motion.
Okay, one motions, Phoebe seconds. All in favor, please raise your hand. All against? Okay, and all abstaining? Okay, so by a vote of 9 to 3 to 1, the motion passes, and we will be tabling this resolution until next week. All right, so we'll be moving forward. Let's make sure that if we have that proposed resolutions chat. So I think this resolution was also in that chat. So let's make sure that we're looking at, if people are posting their resolution there, let's make sure we're like giving them a glance so we can like give them feedback before they come before the public if we can. All right, so with that, we'll be moving on to Eliana's final resolution, resolution on expanded hybrid learning and work options. So Eliana.
Thank you so much, Carl, and good work, everybody. I appreciate y'all's work to improve these resolutions. So let's see, let me start for this one by reading the testimonies on the importance of hybrid. Anonymous. I just started a medication for a newly diagnosed disability that makes me incredibly fatigued, and walking around the campus is a nightmare. I feel like I'm going to faint every time I walk to class because at freshman orientation, they told everyone to sign up for only in-person classes. I'm a first year. I don't want to stop this medication because it's literally keeping me alive, but it's making attending class actual hell. Jordan, he, him, first year, neurodivergent/disabled student. Hybrid learning has allowed me to participate in classes as a more authentic version of myself, and it makes higher education a lot more accessible, not only to me, but to countless other disabled students for a whole variety of reasons as well. To take away hybrid learning from disabled students is not only putting people at serious risk, but it's also stripping people of authenticity in their education. which only further proves that universities don't care about the well-being of their disabled students, despite preaching on how inclusive and diverse their student body is. Disabled students deserve an educational experience that allows us to thrive in academics, not only survive, and for many of us, hybrid learning is an essential part of that experience that can't be replaced with anything else. So that's just a bit on why this is important. And here, I'll share the screen. So thank you to Carl King, Mylan Lee, and Hansika Nath for sponsoring this. Whereas hybrid learning is essential for many students, especially those who are disabled, parenting, international, and/or commuter students. Whereas the Disabled Students Union, USAC, and mother organizations have been advocating for hybrid learning for more than a year and have demonstrated that hybrid learning is popular with UCLA students by getting more than 30,000 signatures on petitions for hybrid learning and building a coalition of organizations representing most UCLA students for the Strike for Safety, which has hybrid learning as a central demand. Whereas the lack of hybrid access has placed many disabled parenting and other students in danger of being unable to complete their degrees despite their hard work and dedication to learning, and has caused many others to endure unnecessary and severe pain, fatigue, exacerbation of their physical and psychological conditions, and the risk of death from contracting COVID while immunocompromised. Whereas hybrid learning would make UCLA more sustainable by decreasing the need for students, faculty, and workers to commute to and from the campus. Whereas UCLA's administration and academic senate have expressed their commitments to equity, which means actively correcting all forms of oppression and barriers to the full flourishing of marginalized communities and building new structures which serve all people fully and equally, and hybrid learning is a necessary component of equity for disabled, parenting, international, and commuter students, and for students of color and low-income students who face higher risks from COVID due to environmental, economic, and medical injustice. Therefore, let it be resolved that USAC calls for the Academic Senate to require hybrid access for all classes, and failing that, to establish sufficient hybrid access so any student can get a degree of any major, concentration, or minor while only taking hybrid classes. Let it further be resolved that USAC calls on both the Academic Senate and the administration to allow UCLA workers, faculty, and grad students to work remotely whenever this is physically possible, and to be provided with adequate PPE and accommodations in all cases. Let it further be resolved that USAC urges that the administration provide all technology, logistical support, and other resources needed for faculty and TAs to easily and smoothly provide hybrid access, and calls for full compensation for the work done by faculty, TAs, staff, and students to establish and preserve access. Let it finally be resolved that USAC expresses appreciation for the dedicated and compassionate activism of the DSU and the mother orgs and of all disabled, parenting, and minority students, and urges that the administration and academic senate consult with these groups before making decisions about accessibility, retention, and COVID response. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Eliana. Any questions, comments, concerns from anyone? Phoebe?
Yeah, my comment is I think there's a few things we might want to like edit in terms of small edits, like COVID to COVID-19, the last paragraph, mother orgs to like mother organizations, DSU to disabled student unions, stuff like that, just to like keep it pretty professional. I know that it says that USAC a few times. I don't know if we wanted to fully write out Undergraduate Student Association Council, or like that we at least put that the USAC, given that that's like the grammatically correct way of going about it. But I would say, like, I know that everyone was a little more hesitant about the last one, which is why we like voted to table it. But this one I think has like more urgent implications, given that these students need the hybrid access right now. So I just wanted to put that out there on people's minds.
Thank you, Phoebe. Juan?
I would love if we can potentially add a section that calls for the Academic Senate to work and strategize to allocate resources to the IT department. I think that hybrid access is an extremely important issue. And I know that current professors who do use hybrid access, or current sections and discussion sections that I'm at that try to employ hybrid access, they have troubles, setting up Zoom, setting up connecting to the projector. And so I think having like that statement that it's not just about expanding hybrid access, but also supporting that by financial support or the expansion of the IT services at UCLA to make sure that this is feasible. I'm not sure how that looks like, but I just want to make that suggestion that we might, Brewcast, it has been difficult for some professors, exactly. So just considering the expansion of or allocating more resources to expanding Brewcast and all of those hybrid and accommodation resources.
Thank you, Juan. Keon?
Yeah, I just want to say great job, Eliana. I love the resolution, all the work that you're doing. I'm 100% support that every student should be able to learn hybrid no matter.
Thank you so much. I appreciate your support, Kian, Phoebe, Ron, and I made the edits which are suggested. You can make more if necessary.
I think Keon's still talking. I don't know if he, like, is his Wi-Fi, like, did he cut out for anybody else?
Yeah, he seems to be having some technology issues.
Okay, we'll just move on to Daniela.
Yeah, really briefly, it's more so just like adding on to the suggestions that Juan suggested. His comment reminded me that I think we could also work to advocate so that Click is able to provide and expand on technological accessibility. So then that way we're actually equipping students to be able to benefit from hybrid access if that is something that they would like to take advantage of, and acknowledging that technological inaccessibility is an issue and that's a barrier that we need to help mitigate, especially but not limited to students who have financial barriers to
That's
technological.
a very good idea. Daniela, would you mind writing a paragraph to that effect in the resolution and let us know when you're done? Thank you.
Okay, so I know there's been some comments and some suggested changes. We can fix the grammatical errors, or any, like, if we have to like write certain things out, we can fix that stuff, right? Josh, like that's fine, right? We don't have to, like, just because we vote as, like, if it says mother orgs and we voted in, we can still change the mother organizations.
Yeah, we can change grammatically. We can't change the content or the intention of the sentences once it's voted in. So if there's a grammatical error, sure, that could be changed.
Okay.
I know there was also a question about formatting. The formatting does have to have the title at the top. So yeah, Jess said typos, misspellings, formatting, all of that that will be taken care of. But we can't change the intention of what was voted on. We can't change any of the content or add anything once the vote has gone through.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Keon, I see Keon is back. Did you want to finish your statement? You want to type it out, or can you like speak right now?
Yeah, I don't know if you guys can hear me. I just wanted to show that I'm in support of what Eliana is doing and the entire resolution, and I just wanted to say great job.
Okay, awesome.
Get it.
All right, so it looks like I guess we can, I know there's been some suggestions, so if there's no other motions, can we get a motion to approve?
Motion to approve. Motion to approve the. Sorry.
Say I move to, and then say the name of it. I move to pass, and then you say the name.
Yeah, I just don't have the name right here. Someone else wants to. I move to pass the resolution, expanded hybrid learning and work options.
Can I get a second?
I, Juan Flores, the Community Service Commissioner, second.
So Keon motions, 1 second. All in favor, please raise your hand. All right, all against? All abstaining? Okay, By a vote of 11 to 0, the resolution passes. So congratulations, Eliana. Proud of you. Everyone give her some hand claps, please. All right. Now moving forward, our discussion on, well, maybe we should, all right, so maybe we should just go ahead and knock out the discussions about the appointment search committee and appointment review committee, all those committees, all right, just so we can just kind of see how this is going to play out for next, because we're going to like actually do this next meeting. So Milan kind of, she put the document in the chat. Was everyone able to review those? Or we can just pull it up right now. Can someone share their screen? Like, can someone pull that up and share their screen regarding the bylaw change for the appointment search committee?
Yes, I can do that real quick.
Thank you.
I don't know which one specific was supposed to be reviewed.
So the appointment search committee, it was that was like a, if I'm not mistaken, it was like a new add-on to, wait, let's see, we can go up a little bit. Can you control F it? Would that work?
That is federal, not this one too. Let's review committee. This one.
So we're trying to let's do appointment search committee first, because I'm just doing it by virtue of everything.
Yeah, this one.
All right. So it says here, so it was basically it was removed presidential search committee. So it changed to appointment search committee, basically, right? So search committee shall be formed by the council to solicit applications, screen applicants, and make recommendations to the council. So basically the composition of this committee shall be determined by the council and shall consist of not less than 3 persons. So it could no less than 3 people. It could be more, but no less than 3 people. All right. The council shall not be required to accept the search committee's recommendations. The council shall determine the positions for which the search committee shall seek and screen applicants. All right. And all council officers will have the option of utilizing the services of this committee for all appointments. All right. So basically, for this search committee, everyone's, it's going to be made of council members, obviously, right? And it has to be no less than 3. So we can just do 3 people for now. And the job of this search committee, it basically just says that it's going to like help us find individuals to put in positions for appointments. Okay. So I guess the thing is, like, this is like, it's new, so I don't really know, like, how do we determine the number? I mean, we can do a vote of like, maybe you guys want 7 people in it or 5 people, but I think 3 is a good number, right? 3 council members. And then the thing is, how do we determine like who is on it? So I guess we can just, I think what this means. So typically the way this used to work is the president would form a council of 3 individuals. Basically, what this did was take that away from the president and made it more of a council thing. So like giving more power to the council. So basically what we could do is, we can create like a Google form where we just kind of like list, I guess, like out of your top 3 choices. Everyone could just list their top 3 choices of like who they think on council should be on these appointment search committees. Okay. And obviously, I think like if you want to be on this committee, you should like beforehand, before we vote on it, you should kind of like say, like, we could do this in Slack. You can say, hey, this is why I should be on this search committee. Like, I want to be on this committee, and this is why I think I should be on the committee. Does that make everybody cool with that? Like, does that make sense? If anyone's confused, please like speak up, okay? who is this person?
Yeah, Carl, I'm going to just jump in real quick. Sorry. I did remove 2 people. I have individually reached out to folks that were directed. I apologize. There is we did have a little bit of a Zoom hack right now. So my apologies about the chat. I immediately removed folks. We can disregard the folks that were in there. I have to work with.
I was gonna say, do you know how they were promoted?
They were not promoted. I have to work with Fernando. People in the waiting room should not have access to the chat. We have to disable that for next week. Our apologies. When it was set up, it must have been set up that the chat was open. So I will make sure that that is addressed next week. My apologies to anyone who saw what was written. It is not appropriate, and they were removed immediately.
Okay. Yeah, let's just make sure that doesn't happen again. I'm so sorry for the council members. Don't worry about that. I don't know. Yeah, that's crazy. Okay. Sorry, that's taken away from this. So yeah, I guess the plan I got for this, right? Or I recommend, because this isn't the presidential search committee, it's the appointment search committee, is individuals who want to be on this committee. To find individuals, they express interest in the Slack, in our little council Slack, like express interest that you want to be on this committee, right? And then we'll take that list of however many individuals, 4 or 5, or if it's just 3 people that's express, if it's only 3 that express interest in it, then we just obviously they're put on, right? If everyone approves. If there's any disagreements, then we can just do like a Google form and everyone just kind of like rank the top 3 people they think should be on. And we'll just have to figure out, all right, who has the most votes, and those 3 will be on the appointment search committee. Okay, so that's something that we're going to work on this week. Me and Milan can work out the details for doing the Google form, or whatever with that, because I don't think we have to vote on that publicly, right, Josh?
You don't have, I'm sorry, can you repeat that one more time?
I was saying for this right here, like basically, because council, we're going to have to put together this appointment search committee. We don't have to vote on this publicly, right? For the people that we decide to put on this appointment search committee, that's something we can do behind the scenes, right?
Yes, you can assign whomever you want. We would just bring it to council and just make the announcement of who is on that committee, just for transparency's sake. But yes, you can appoint whomever you please.
Okay, awesome. So hey, once again, everyone, remember, if you're interested after this meeting, if you're interested in being on this, say that in the council chat, you're interested. We'll create the Google form and we'll try to go ahead and knock it out to get everyone to, like, if there's more than 3, then we'll have to do like a vote or something like that. But we'll try to go ahead and knock it out so we can get the 3 individuals that need to be on this appointment search committee. And then from there, that's when we'll be able to start the work on that. Okay. So if there's not any questions, we can move on to the next committee, which is the appointment review committee. Milan, could you control F that as well? Appointment review committee.
Also, sorry, we have a question from Phoebe.
All right. No, you're good. I just wanted to clarify that it says not less than 3 people. So I don't know if like people wanted like a larger than 3 number, but like we can vote for more than 3 people in this Google form, right?
Yeah, we can do that too. Yeah, what I was saying was like, so no, it has to be at least 3 people. So if only 3 people express interest, then we're just going to go with those 3, right? But if, let's say, 8 people express interest, then we have to go back and say, okay, how many people do we want? We have to do a vote on how many people we want to be on this appointment search committee, right? Which we could say 7, or it has to be an odd number, right? Right, but for like voting purposes, so it have to be an odd number. So we can say, all right, how many do we want on this committee? And then we have to say, okay, out of that number we just chose, who out of these 8 are going to be on this? Like, let's say if we chose 7, who out of these 8 are going to be the 7 that are on this appointment search committee? So these are all things that we're going to discuss behind the scenes. We can talk about how many people we want to be on the search committee. It all depends on everyone on council, like who all expresses interest on being on the appointment search committee. Okay, so we'll put a little message in the Slack, and if you're like, we'll just do it so where if you are interested, like I'll do it like this is what Breeze did last year. She put like all of the committees, and then she said like vote on the ones that you're interested in, like put a heart next to them. And so if there's only 3 for the appointment search committee, then we can go with those 3. But if there's 10 that are interested, then we'll have to vote on the number of individuals, and then we'll have to vote on who specifically will be filled in that number. Does that make sense? Everyone good with that?
Let's go. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. All right, so next we have appointment review committee. Okay, so the changes to this one was, okay, so the appointments review committee shall consist of 5 members, 3 members of the council selected and approved by the council, the eternal vice president, and the finance committee chair. So it's kind of the same thing. So it's approved by the council. And because the internal vice president and the finance committee chair are both part of the council. So yeah, so I'm sorry. The IVP and the finance committee chair also serve on this board along with 3 individuals. All right, that will be selected by the council. The TSR shall serve as one of the 5 members. The finance committee chair shall serve as an ex-official member without a vote. One of the 3 members selected from the council shall serve as an alternate and will only vote when quorum is not met. Any other member of the council may attend the appointments review committee meeting. A quorum shall consist of 3 original members. Okay. So, yes. I think I seen Jessica's hands first.
Oh, I can let Danielle, you can go first if you want. I'm just gonna give y'all more background info if you're wanting me to clarify what the difference in the committees are, but I can wait.
Sorry, super quick question. I know that it says that we need to appoint 3 members, but then the following sentence says that the TSR serves as one of the 5. So does that mean that we only need to approve 2 members by the council?
That kind of I was kind of confused by that as well, because it says 5. However, 3 are supposed to be selected and approved by the council, but the IVP and the finance committee chair will already be on board this appointments review committee. And it says that the transfer student rep will serve as one, and then the finance committee chair will serve as an ex-official. Okay, so the finance committee chair doesn't technically serve. So they serve on it for some reason, but they don't have a vote in regards to the actual, like when it comes down to voting. So I guess it just is written kind of poorly, but what I think it's saying is it shall consist of 3 members appointed by council, selected and approved by council, and then the internal vice president and the transfer student representative will both be on this as well as voting members. The finance committee chair will be on this as well. Okay, that doesn't make any sense, but they'll serve as well, but without a vote. Oh, okay, here it is. Here's the follow-on. One of the 3 members selected from the council shall serve as an alternate and will only vote when quorum is not met. All right, so one of the 3 that we're bringing on is going to just be an alternate. Jessica?
Yeah, so I wanted to just give you all a quick little bit of more background on this. So the appointments review committee is going to be separate from your search committee and should be separate people. So if you want to sign up for a search committee, you shouldn't be on the review committee and vice versa. But the review committee is the group who actually formally interviews your candidates who receive a stipend before they come to council for an interview of all of council. And so that's the group that'll say, give a recommendation on the candidate after an initial screening. So your transfer rep and your IVP are 2 council members that are automatically in this group. And so you just need 2 other council members to round it out. The FICOM chair, I believe, supports the committee in that they kind of help, clarify questions about the budget or the stipend, because the interviews are mainly for the stipended appointments that you have. And so your alternate person will join in the interview if one person can attend, so that you have 3 members interviewing your candidate, and they basically will say like, you know, we recommend, we don't recommend, or we disapprove this candidate before when they come to council to do their main interview. So it is a formal committee, and with this one in particular, it's a lot of coordination offline to make sure you're meeting with every candidate that needs to be interviewed. And then if it's just a consent item, so the person's not receiving a stipend, their resume just gets reviewed. So that's not as detailed. But it is a pretty heavy lift for the committee in being available. And this is for all appointments of all of council, whether or not they're under the office of the president or, you know, community service commission, like any office that has an appointment will be forwarded to the appointments review committee to either be interviewed or screened by resume before they come to council to vote to approve. So hopefully that kind of helps clarify the role of this committee versus your search, which is finding the applicants to apply and then saying, we think these folks should be interviewed by ARC to come to council.
Okay, thank you so much, Jessica. So basically, I mean, just making sure everyone reads it so we can understand it. Basically, what we'll, like I said, for all these positions, we'll do, we'll put it in the Slack, and then everyone votes on what they want to be a part of. Obviously, don't vote to be on 2 separate. I mean, I guess you can. If you don't get on one, you can try to get on the other. But we can do like a couple rounds of it to make sure everyone gets the position that they want to get for these committees. Okay. We're just hanging there. We're getting through this. All right. All right. So Constitutional Review Committee. Milan, can you
yeah, I don't know if this is in the bylaw changes, but I have the bylaws here if you know which one.
Okay, if there wasn't a change, that's fine. I'll read that myself, and then I'll just I'll go through it and let everyone know, like, hey, this is one of the committees you can be a part of, and boom. So
There is a bylaw change. I'm just kidding. This one's it.
Okay, yeah, there we go. So no, we've already went over that one. So
okay, for the appointments. Okay, so I don't think there's a bylaw change for the CRC.
Okay. Okay, awesome. All right, so for that committee, same go. Like I'll look into the specifics of it and break it down for everyone. So we're gonna have these like positions selected by this Friday. Okay, like I'll make sure that we're set up to have it by this Friday. So come next Tuesday, we can just announce to the public, hey, these are the individuals, and then we can get to like work appointing people. All right, and then last thing, budget review committee. Was there any changes to that one?
This one is it.
Budget review director. That's for the budget review director. Okay. Okay, so
I think so.
Okay, we'll look into the specifics of that, so that's fine. Okay, so basically, I mean, that's kind of wrapping up this discussion. Obviously, there's committees. We kind of talked about some of the specifics of who needs to go where and basically what their jobs are. Obviously, some of them are pretty like cut and dry. Budget review committee, you're probably like helping review the budget. Constitution review committee, you're dealing with the Constitution and things of that nature. So we'll put this in the chat, get these selected by Friday, so everyone is so that we can start making these appointments, because that's going to take up a lot of our time. And that's the reason why we're going to be staying here till like 11 and 12 because of appointments. All right. So y'all get ready for that. All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Jessica. All right. So next we have it seems like the final thing is just a discussion of which is the mass shooting in Buffalo, New York. Just want to open the floor. I guess I know Daniela, you wanted to kind of bring it talk about this. So I just wanted to open up the floor to you first, and then we can just kind of give our thoughts to everyone. Daniela?
Yeah, my commentary isn't anything that's super extensive as of right now. I know that when I mentioned it to you directly, it was just more so to like throw it out there as something that we should address as a council, because There has been a lot of administration extending forth communications, not only admin, but I've also seen things from my department chairs sending forth emails. And I think that it is definitely something that should be of concern to the council, because especially at the point in the quarter in which we're at and still being amidst a pandemic, it influences and it definitely plays a role in individual students' emotional well-being and just general well-being. So yeah, just wanted to put that out there to the rest of the council as well.
Okay, and thank you so much for that. Yeah, it was a tragedy that happened, and it's something that we can definitely address. I'm willing to create to write a resolution in support of the families, and probably I guarantee you how big the school is. Probably some individuals from that community that is probably affecting them pretty roughly. So I'm willing to me and Daniela can start working on that, a resolution for that. But yeah. Hey, for a great first council meeting, everyone. I think we're pretty much wrapping up everything right now. So typically they won't be this long when we get into the rhythm of them, except for when we're appointing a lot of people. But great job, everyone. We got a couple things that were tabled that we're gonna have to work on next week. And that's fine. We'll have to do some discussions behind the scene, but just great work from everybody. And I think I adjourn this meeting at 8:59 p.m.